darling.
You know, you expect better from some guests. Danielle Archer's coming in here with her problematic self this morning.
I would just ask the question.
We're not doing it.
You want me to say what I asked?
No. At the end.
Sorry.
So on to serious matters, right? Because on June 20, Prime Minister Andrew Holness tabled in the House of Representatives JDs, that's job descriptions for parliamentarians, which outline their roles and responsibilities. Here to talk more about this, Principal Director at National Integrity Action. I have not seen you since that designation, so congratulations.
Congratulations.
Danielle Archer. And Human Resource Specialist Romario Buchanan. Morning.
Good morning.
Well, we're colorful this morning, aren't we?
It's summer. It's summer.
Okay, so let me start with you, Madam Archer, because you've never been shy about these things. Your thoughts, first of all, they were long in coming. Too long in coming.
Right.
You would agree with that.
Right.
Now that they're here, I hear other folks saying that it's a good start.
Anything is a good start. It's been long in coming, so we're grateful that you have it. But having been so long in coming, you'd have anticipated or expected that it would have more meat. There would have been some evidence of consultation, some acknowledgement of the information that was shared in the Carlstone report from 1991. You will recall, much has been said about that. You could have looked at the details that he had set forth, such as the establishment of a constituency council and ensuring that MPs are accountable to the constituency council and the creation of development. So technically, it came across as a knee-jerk response, a flippant response, because people were asking, what the job description there? What the job description there? All right, see it here.
So you're not impressed with what was put out?
Given the length of time that we've been anticipating it, this draft, if it's a draft, the length of time, you'd have expected more. And I'll throw into for good measure. You will recall that when we were having this discussion about salaries, we were told that the Ernst & Young report, in order for them to come to this agreement as to recommendation as to what the salaries were, that job descriptions were part of the discussion. So it follows that if job descriptions were part of this report, then this document that you have provided doesn't help us to understand how is it that these are the responsibilities, these are the duties, and this is your salary.
I heard one, I don't remember which head of which association it was, speaking on another show, saying that, outside of there were some smart elements that were missing, measurable. So reasonable attendance in Parliament, reasonable this, what is a measure, what is a yardstick? So that was a shortcoming that I heard mentioned, but I heard her also say that when you benchmark against other JDs she's seen across the world, we started off well. Romario, we've heard Danielle's. What are yours?
Well, for me, it's typically a bit alarming, right, to say the least. Job descriptions are usually tailored, right, prior to the role being assumed by a particular individual. So when it is that we have a government, the highest objective of the land, so to speak, having a reactive approach to job descriptions, it's pretty alarming and it's concerning for me. Job descriptions date back, Simone, as far as the 1900s. It's pretty much what sets the tone for a position, and it must align with the objective of the business before you can determine if the business really needs it. So you first have to do your due diligence, right, so to speak, to ascertain the reason behind why you need that role. Right? You outline the expectations, the job title, of course, the job overview, the qualifications that would ensure optimal success in that role, right? In addition to that, you would also outline, some companies choose to outline the compensation package, the reporting structure. Some job descriptions, depending on jurisdiction, would also outline the KPIs that are essential to optimal performance. So it's clear that prior to that being done, the due diligence being done, it is clear that there wasn't really thought in before that determination was made, because you cannot be free willingly doing a job without knowing exactly what the job will entail.
Yep.
And that's why we have had so much shortfalls from a government standpoint in terms of performance.
Yep. Danielle, I would like to think that there was always job descriptions for members of Parliament. We just didn't know them. Because if I call you as a Prime Minister and say, I want you to be a Minister of Mining, you must say to me, so what am I supposed to do? So I'm trying to say that There must have been. And we just didn't know. So now that we're here, you can't go through.
Is that an assumption?
But it's an assumption, you know.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But it would be stupid not to give me a job and don't tell me what I must do. You know,
Well, the truth is, Neville, our Westminster system doesn't come with these things written. So we have to craft them as we go along.
But I still would want to know from you if you're doing your job. Right.
Agreed.
At least you tell me
Agreed.
what I want. So we don't have the time to go through everything. But you mentioned one thing. Tell me some of the things that's missing.
The reporting structure for members of parliament. So let's look at who's accountable. Who's accountable? The accountable matrix isn't there. Yes, it's not there. And so one would have thought that you'd have tabled the job description and given us this accountability matrix so that we know that, don't just tell me that I'm accountable at general elections. Ergo, we do know that, but we want you to do work before elections. So let us know what the accountability matrix is. That's not there. There's also something of concern to us at NIA, and that's just that use of those words, befitting conduct. What does that mean?
That was not defined?
Befitting conduct. And in the context where you'd have issued the job descriptions after we've been having these discussions about your code of conduct, having recognized that there's this ministry paper that speaks about code of conduct, there are no sanctions imposed, there's nothing to say how you're going to be doing it. But it would have been helpful if the job descriptions had said, every member of parliament is to ascribe to these principles.
Yeah. Key. In other words, Romario, I didn't know what I was supposed to do when you gave me the work.
Pretty much. Because even I think it's very unconscionable, to say the least, right? And again, very reactive. I think the government should have properly executed the objectives of their role, right? By first ascertaining what the person would do. And that's pretty much, attributed to the many shortfalls that we have seen in our government to date.
Successive governments, because it's been this way forever. Yeah.
And that's the excuse that we make. Oh, that's how the system's set. That's what we've been doing. There's nobody else who has it, and nobody else can come and tell us how to do it. But it means that as a growing democracy who is interested in accountability and transparency, don't just challenge everybody who's asking it to be accountable, but do it in a way that you can reflect it.
We have a couple of minutes. And question to you both. Do you first, Danielle, what happens if I don't follow the job description? I get fired? What happens? Is that a part?
Our perspective, we'd have hoped to have seen something called the right to recall. Right. But that's not there.
So there's nothing that says if you fail what I'm asking you to do, you go home. There's nothing that says that.
No, sir.
I want to say that's supposed to be a given. Because you have your JD, all of the things that these folks mentioned are outlined. If you fail to meet those standards, but if you don't KPIs, what are you working towards? You are supposed to be summarily dismissed. Is that not how it works? After one written this and two written that, then...
That's correct.
No? But there's none.
But I can carry go court if you fire me and you never the paper never tell me that if I miss a parliament, I get fired. I always say, but the paper never tell me that.
That's true. The job description is a legally compliant document that all new employees must get before they start to roll or while they're in the negotiation aspect of the process. And if it is that we continue to be of the mindset that a job description isn't essential for success, then we'll continue to have the shortfalls that we've been experiencing as a government. It's tied to appraisals. If it is that you are appraised, you have to be appraised for something. There must be a foundation that outlines exactly what it is that you are supposed to be doing in the role, and that would actually culminate the appraisal. So if it is that we have someone, right, that pretty much has, let's say, a performance issue, we cannot have any way of letting them know that they're underperforming if in fact they did not receive a job description which outlines how they should function.
0 to 15% X, 15% to 30% Y.
And that explains how you get your salary.
Correct.
All of us can't get the same thing because some of us are outperforming.
Correct.
And that's why it's important, Simone, for us to get that draft from Ernest & Young so that we can see what it is that they had used.
We have a Westminster system and it's not typical. Benchmarking across the world.
Right.
JDs?
That's not, it's not, perhaps that's a better way to put it. Because of the nature of the Westminster model, we do not have that standard or draft that you can say you can follow. But we are in 2023 and we're talking about having politicians who are being paid as CEOs. CEOs have
Right.
job descriptions
That's right.
within an accountability matrix, wherein they don't just wait for you to
Who report into a board.
correct.
They're not performing.
Correct. So you
Yeah.
can have members of parliament who report to constituency councils. I would really urge you to have a look at the Carlstone report. The information that he set out in terms of duties, look at what he suggested 1991, look at what we have now, and decide whether or not it is something that we should be considering.
I think he said one of the things that councillors must live in the community where you're a councillor.
True. But then we can now have that different discussion elsewhere in different time. But one of the things he wanted to point out was to have councillors and MPs being accessible.
Yes.
So the ultimate thing is to be accessible. That's what you want. You want.
And being accessible would kind of mean, say, live in an area with the people themselves.
Not even necessarily, no, but
I can just knock your gate and say,
Well, it's how you do it,
Yeah.
because you can have the constituency office and the party office, and there's always somebody there who take a phone call and respond.
Right.
Your responsiveness is what we're looking for.
good to see you both. Thanks for coming.
Pleasure is certainly
Great
mine.
input. Me love hear the young people them passionate to see.
Is me calling young people? Is me calling young?
All of us on this set are young people.
Why, thank you.
Thank you very
The
much.
cake.
Most of us,
The cake.
except the people in purple.
The cake.
Ah,
Perfect.
The cake.
you want cake? For what? Was it your birthday?
I was asking about the cake.
What cake?
Okay.
Don't worry, you soon get it.
You soon get it? Thank you, Neville. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man, you soon get it. Next time you come, you just call us Mr. and
She's not coming back?
She's the
Maybe next
principal
time.
director. May I invite her just to say that she's the principal director at the National Integrity Action, Danielle Archer, and senior manager and human resource specialist, Romario Buchanan.
Oh my gosh.
After the break, Mrs. Universe, and I say that deliberately. I didn't know you had a Mrs. Universe as opposed to a
You know,
Miss
guy, I
Universe.
know you know.
We will share her passion for philanthropy. Stay with us, please. Soon come.